I am as big of a Tim Tebow fan as there is out there. I loved watching him play with Florida from the moment that he was a true freshman. I loved the exuberance. I loved the passion. I frankly liked the way that Tim Tebow carried himself. I think one reason that Tebow is so wildly popular is because even if he beat your team, which he did in the SEC in particular, Tebow carried himself in a way that was uniquely popular all over the South. I don't know that there has ever been a player that has been more popular in the SEC across the entire conference. Now, there are guys that were wildly entertaining and everybody liked to watch. Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel at the quarterback position. But I'm not sure there was anybody who has ever been more liked, particularly because of the amount of games that Tebow won. He won a national championship his freshman year, and they wouldn't have won it without him. I know Chris Leak was the starting quarterback then, but there's no way the Florida Gators win a national championship if they don't have Tim Tebow. He made a lot of huge plays in that season. By the way, I think that's probably Urban Meyer's best coaching job ever. It's up there. I know the championship he won with Ohio State was impressive as well, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things that Florida Gator team was that wildly talented. And certainly Chris Leak, no offense to Chris Leak, but is one of the least dominant quarterbacks to ever win a national championship in the last 20 years or so. Then Tebow came back his junior year, and they won the national championship again, and that was with Tim Tebow driving the team. In his sophomore year, he won the Heisman Trophy. He played 4 years and was undefeated, only lost one game, the game that Nick Saban in Alabama, Tebow cried on the sideline against the Alabama Crimson Tide in that classic, iconic SEC championship game. And I'll tell you this, one of the best things that I have gotten to do as a sports fan is go and be at the Florida-Georgia games down in Jacksonville, Florida. If you're listening to me right now, and every now and then I say it when these games come up, you want to put a fun game on your bucket list. Go to Jacksonville, it's usually right around Halloween week, and go watch Florida and Georgia play in the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium and see how those two fan bases take over all of Jacksonville. And tell me it isn't one of the most fun sporting events that you can find anywhere in the country. Because if there's anybody out there arguing otherwise, I will tell you, you know what? You are just totally wrong, okay? And Jacksonville, I remember one of the times that I went there for the Florida-Georgia games, the most popular selling T-shirt anywhere in Jacksonville was a Jacksonville Jaguars teal T-shirt. All it said on it was Draft Tebow. That's all it said. And they were everywhere because Tim Tebow is from the Jacksonville area. And everybody out there wanted for somebody to come and be able to get Tim Tebow on that team because it would have totally filled up. I mean, it really would have. It would have totally filled up the stadium early on. Now, I think Tim Tebow's attempt to prove that he could be a high-level quarterback in the NFL, it obviously failed. But Tim Tebow did something that almost no one believed he would ever do. He started in the NFL, and he won a playoff game, and he proved that he could win at a decent level as a quarterback, at least for one season. Now, I do think the NFL teams would have caught up with him. He wasn't consistent enough as a pocket passing quarterback. And that one run that he had with the Denver Broncos was wildly entertaining. The way that they found chances to win, the pass that Tim Tebow hit to Demaryius Thomas against the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a playoff game before they went on the road and then got waxed by the New England Patriots. There's been a lot of people who've gotten waxed by the New England Patriots over the years. But Tebow at the quarterback position in both college and the NFL was an electric, transcendent talent. There's also a little bit of a dark side to Urban Meyer's relationship with Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was such a saint that he was a shield that helped to protect Urban Meyer and the Florida Gator program from all of the arrests off the field that were occurring in the Florida Gator program. You remember Urban Meyer came out and said that he was only going to hire and sign instead of hire, the top 1% of the 1%. And then all these different players got arrested and stacked up misbehavior off the field. And many people did not notice or pay attention to it because the storyline of Tim Tebow and what an incredible guy he was dominated so much of that storyline in general. The culture of the Florida Gators, in many ways, was a culture that Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer helped to create. And as soon as Tim Tebow left, that Florida Gator culture collapsed without, I really do believe, the broad shoulders of Tim Tebow to help keep it elevated. Urban Meyer, without Tim Tebow, rides off into the sunset for a year, I think it was, before he ends up back at Ohio State. Urban Meyer left behind a mess at Florida because his win-at-all-costs culture, when it was paired with Tim Tebow, was capable of succeeding. As soon as Tim Tebow was not there anymore, it no longer was able to succeed. So, I wonder on some level whether Tim Tebow is ever going to be able to play at a high level at tight end at the age of 33, coming off of playing baseball for several years, doing something, by the way, at tight end that people had told him he should do for years and that he refused to do because he was a quarterback in his mind. I wonder how much of this, and this is my thesis on what's going on with the idea of Tim Tebow going to Jacksonville, I think this is about Urban Meyer sending a message to the Jacksonville Jaguars using Tim Tebow as a cultural force in the locker room where you know there are going to be a lot of young people. 33 years old in an NFL locker room is old, man. There are not very many 33-year-old players performing at a high level. But if you are Urban Meyer and you know that the future of your team in many ways is directly tied to Trevor Lawrence, and you want to set the best possible culture in that locker room with all of the young guys that you are bringing in, and I do think Urban Meyer will skew young. And one reason I think he'll skew young is he knows a lot of the young players from having recruited them when he was at Ohio State, but also because young players are less set in their way and they're more likely to listen to what their coach is telling them. And so I think as this is all breaking down and everybody is looking at the larger context of what Tim Tebow is going to represent for Jacksonville, I think he'll make the team. I don't know how much of an impact he will have on the field on a day-to-day basis. But I think this is a play by Urban Meyer from a cultural perspective to set the trend as he believes that trend should be set in the days, the weeks, the months ahead. And he is going back in time and remembering everything that happened and all that was set up when Tim Tebow was playing with the Florida Gators, and that he believes that Tebow will be a cultural force and an impact for good in his locker room in the early part of his tenure when Urban Meyer is the overall culture of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It also wouldn't stun me if Tebow, because of him being such a ridiculous athlete, is able to make some plays, particularly in goal line situations, with his quarterback. Wouldn't stun me either if there's some plays where they put Tim Tebow, for instance, in motion and out of tight end, flip it to him in short yardage back plays. Tim Tebow is one of the best guys I've ever seen at getting a yard where he needs to get a yard or two that I've ever seen as a runner. Just taking the punishment that can be delivered by all those different NFL linebackers, all those different NFL defensive linemen. Tebow almost never went backwards in short yardage situations. I wonder whether Urban Meyer might find a way to use him in that form or fashion as well. But I am excited about what Tebow is going to be able to do in his return, presuming that he makes the team in the NFL. And you look around and think, man, you know what? What is it going to look like in that first game? Look, this is an awful game, right? To me, Jacksonville's going on the road against Houston. I think there's a very good chance that Trevor Lawrence and the Jags win that game and that Tebow can play and make a play that matters in some sort of significant way against the Houston Texans, because I think what's going to happen is Urban Meyer is going to want to have a reason to justify Tim Tebow being on the team, and I think there will be a play. Maybe it's a jump pass. Maybe it is a trick play snap to Tebow. Maybe it's just in a goal line situation, Tebow gets open and catches a touchdown pass, 2-point conversion, something like that down close. I think Urban is going to want to make it clear that in his mind this is not a stunt, and there will be in some form or fashion a play made by Tim Tebow in that opener against the Houston Texans. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars get the win in that game, and I believe that Trevor Lawrence starts with a win in his first NFL game. You think about the mess that is the Texans. We talked about this in the last segment, kind of breaking down week one. Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, no way Deshaun Watson is playing in that opening game of the season. I don't think Deshaun Watson's ever going to play for the Houston Texans again. So this is a ripe opportunity for the Houston Texans to be able to come going up against the Houston Texans for Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow, Trevor Lawrence, for that brain trust, so to speak, the culture that Urban Meyer is building for something to happen in a really positive way for the Jags. If I'm Urban Meyer, I'm like, well, we're starting 1-0. There's no way that we are losing to the Houston Texans, Tyrod Taylor and or Davis Mills, whoever is the starting quarterback in that situation. This is the best possible opener, in my opinion, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, for Tim Tebow, who I believe will be on that sideline with Urban Meyer. This is going to be a fun story to follow.